Hello, everybody. We are going to start our shoulder workshop soon. I'm just going to wait a few minutes because I'm actually a minute early, which is amazing. And just give everyone some time to trickle in. Now, I am doing it through Zoom and live streaming it into Facebook. So if you are here live, you must be watching through the group, obviously. You can type in the chat and I'll keep checking back. I'll just type it in. Hello. Feel free to drop where you're watching from and any questions you might have about shoulders. So this is supposed to be interactive. I have a lot of information today for you guys, and I'm really excited to be running this live workshop because I get this question a lot. Is it normal to carry stress and tension in our shoulders, in our neck and shoulders? Is it normal as we get older to just have these golf balls, these aches and pains? When I wake up in the morning, I feel stiff and sore in my neck and shoulders. So, a lot of questions in this area, and a lot of clients that I see in person in my clinic, in my office here, and also just in general, I think it's human nature to carry stress and tension in this area. But though it's common, it doesn't mean we have to just sort of suffer through it, live through it. There's lots of things we can do, and it starts with awareness. So we'll chat a lot about that today, and how do we start to become more aware. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'm actually live. I think I am live. Let's see. Yep. Looks like it's working. So I hope that it's working. If it's working and you're here, maybe give me a hello in the chats, just so I know you're here and you're watching and that it's working. I would love to hear from you. Before we officially get started, I'll just welcome you to this workshop. I'm hoping to see some people trickle in live. It's always more fun when you can come live and be interactive with me. It allows me to know that you're watching and that I can address your questions in real time. While you get settled, I'll just introduce myself. I know we have some newer members who may not know me. My name is Tatiana, and I am the founder and creator of the Move with Ease method. And I run this private community called Redefining Aches and Aging for Women, because I'm really passionate about this. I help women overcome the traditional aches and pains of aging. And instead of feeling like we're waking up feeling old, stiff, and sore, and like we're 80, waking up feeling like we're free to move with ease, and being confident in our minds and our bodies. So the shoulder is quite the complex joint. Hi, Avi. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for saying hello, because that means it's working. The streaming is working, which is great. Thank you so much. Let me know where you're watching from, Avi or Avi. Where was I? Yes. So the shoulder is quite the complicated joint, and there is so much to talk about. Really, this could be like a 5-part live, but I'm just going to try to do an overview of it today and address some of the questions that I got. So thank you guys also so much for those who submitted questions. It's always nice to, have that back and forth. That way I know what you guys need and I can help you the best I can and support you, because that's why I'm here. So the shoulder joint, let's share my screen because I want to show you something about the shoulder joint. And I'll just do this quickly. It's not going to be a very long anatomy lesson, but I just want you guys to get an idea of why it's so complicated. Here we go. So you can see my screen, and what I've done is just done a simple Google called rotator cuff and pulled up images, and here's the back of a person, and you can see the right shoulder here. I'm like mousing over it. And this isn't even showing you all the muscles. It's just showing you kind of like some of them, okay? And remember, this is at the shoulder blade. So on top of the shoulder blade, there's actually more back muscles, neck muscles. There's like layers, but we've like kind of just identified just the shoulder. So here's your shoulder blade, right? And right against the top is your supraspinatus. We're talking about rotator cuffs here. We have 4 rotator cuffs, and each rotator cuff has a different job. Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and then subscapularis is another rotator cuff. Those are our 4 rotator cuffs. Keep in mind, the shoulder is not just rotator cuffs. You still have other muscles like your pecs, your biceps, your triceps, your brachialis. There's neck muscles. I won't even get into those, but I just want to say, first of all, rotator cuff is 4 muscles, and they're not the only muscles. And the shoulder is such a cool complex because it's a ball and socket joint, but the ball is bigger than the socket, meaning it's not all snuggled in like that, right? The socket is smaller than the head of the ball. What does that mean? Means there's a lot of range of motion, okay? Meaning we can move, ideally, in a lot of directions through this one joint, okay? But having said that, because there's so much mobility, there is a lot of complicated tendonitis type stuff, or tearing or injuries that can be related to the shoulder because it's so complex, right? It's a joint that isn't just like back and forth. Like the elbow is a bit more back and forth, right? Like one direction, I mean. But the shoulder joint is very mobile, but it requires a lot of love and care. So I just wanted to show you the rotator cuffs, because sometimes I get clients who are like, oh, I thought rotator cuff was just one muscle. No, rotator cuff itself is 4 muscles. And more often than not, I see a lot of problems in the rotator cuff, supraspinatus and infraspinatus and subscapularis. It's hard to tell what subscapularis is. Let me just Google it for you quickly. Subscapularis. Because it's kind of this like funny muscle that, well, it's not funny, but it's just a muscle that's hard to get at. So if you were looking at someone, none of these are really that great, but if you're, okay, here's a, if you were looking at this guy from the front, like you see how his arm is up and you're looking at him from the front, it's like the subscapularis is this armpit muscle. Okay, if you've ever had a massage therapist or a physiotherapist or your chiro dig in your armpit, that's your subscapularis. So if you're looking at me from the front, my subscapularis is in there. It lies at the front of my shoulder blade and it hugs my arm into my body. So when I have stress or pain or discomfort, you know how we tend to like fetal position, squeeze our arms like protective mode, that's subscapularis pulling our arms in. Okay, so that's the 4th rotator cuff that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about the rotator cuffs? Well, because the rotator cuffs are so sneaky. They have muscle bellies around the shoulder blade. That's the muscle bulk. But then their tendons are long, strappy, and skinny, and they insert on the arm bone. Right? That's how you can rotate your arm around, because the rotator cuffs rotate them along with the other muscles that I mentioned, biceps, triceps, pecs, neck muscles. But the rotator cuffs, the way their tendons are located in our bodies, if you're moving your shoulder and you're not in an ideal biomechanical posture, it is very easy for those snaky rotator cuff tendons to get caught, stuck, friction, bumping up against bone and other tendons in this joint, which can cause us a lot of grief and a lot of pain immobility, and then, start to radiate down the arm. So for example, that supraspinatus, that top rotator cuff we just saw, if I was to strip away all my big shoulder muscles and I just got to my shoulder blade, in the top part of my shoulder blade, there's a groove. That's called supraspinatus. Its job is to initiate arm lift. If I lift my arm in any position and I'm not in a good biomechanical posture to clear the space, my supraspinatus tendon keeps repetitively getting butted up against the bone in the small joint space. That's only one muscle, right? Like think of other things that are getting bumped up in there. And that is a very common rotator cuff I see in clinic that is either aggravated, so it's tendonitis. Itis just means inflammation, or partial tear, minor tear, full tear. This is the thing about our shoulders. It is so mobile, which is fantastic, but it's so important to keep it strong and flexible, to have safe mobility and use and strength in good posture, because that way all the muscles can work harmoniously versus, what I typically see is a lot of forward posture, a lot of carrying stress and tension. I can't explain why this happens. It just does when we tend to be stressed or anxious or have a lot on our plates. When we're overwhelmed, we start to do this, we start to curl forward. Again, I think it's part of that human nature to protect ourselves, crumbling into that fetal position, but that throws off the shoulder biomechanics, right? Then when you go to use your arm and you lift, it bumps up against the tendons, particularly the rotator cuff tendons, particularly supraspinatus is one big culprit, and it causes a lot of pain. It's a small muscle, but the tendon, I think it's just because it's so close to other structures and nerves, when it's not happy and it gets inflamed, it can radiate down the arm. So, a lot of times I get people coming in saying, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts, my arm hurts, and I'm treating them back here. And they're like, but it doesn't hurt back there. Yeah, that's the culprit, that muscle, but the pain can really get so diffuse and radiate quite far. Let me know in the chat if that made sense, or if you're this is so complicated, I don't understand. Let me know. Hi, Dee Dee. Using my lunch break. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And hi, Carolyn, watching from Stittsville. Amazing. That's near me. Okay, so why do we carry stress in this area? And how can we alleviate it? I think, again, why we carry stress is that it's just one of those parts of our bodies that when we fetal position, it just activates. When we have stress hormones, so cortisol levels are high, it must send a signal to our brain that makes us turtle, right? But we can do something about that. Yes, it's a central nervous response, maybe you want to call it, or a reactionary response, evolution-wise, that's for survival. But modern day world, these stresses and threats aren't something we can physically run away from, right? We don't have a saber-toothed tiger chasing us anymore, and then we run away, we get to the safe cave, and then we can relax, right? Our body tells us, okay, we're safe now. Oftentimes, our modern day stress is work deadlines, life, finances, relationships, could be even something as small as rumors and that kind of drama, and that causes stress, but we can't physically get away from it. So how do we address it then? Because we're still responding with this physical tension, this physical response. We need to bring mindful movement and awareness to our bodies. And this is where I really emphasize with my clients, mind-body connection is so important. And that first step of mind-body connection is awareness. I'm just seeing Abby wrote, I have shoulder impingement. Yes, Abby, if you were listening, impingement likely is that supraspinatus. And the best way to address impingement is to create space in your shoulders so that the rotator cuffs can do their job properly. You have good posture for biomechanics, and then you maintain that and slowly start to make your movement bigger and more mobile and more flexible and stronger. Again, I know that answer isn't like a quick fix, and guys, I'll always tell you straight up, there's no such thing as a quick fix. Yes, there's things that you can do that help alleviate pain, temporarily, but the main way to, heal our bodies truly in a sustainable way is mindful movement, is to move our bodies in a mindful way. It's not no pain, no gain, but we do have to go through a little bit of curiosity and discomfort to restore and replenish and heal. Okay, I hope that makes sense. We will do a physical practice soon. I know some of you are itching for some relief or how to, start the process. And we'll definitely do some gentle movement together to help you guys help you ladies start to relieve those neck and shoulder tensions. Now, back to what I was saying about mindfulness in our modern day world is that awareness has to come first, because if we're carrying our shoulders up around our ears and hunch forward because we're stressed all day, plus we do so much like this, like think of your computer, your device, like everything is like so like forward and like in this posture now, even like driving. So if we don't create that awareness to open and relax, use our breath to like calm our nervous system, our physical bodies will take the brunt. And a lot of times in my practice, I see it come out through the upper neck and shoulders, like clients that come in and they're literally like golf balls. It's like, can't even like touch it without it feeling like it's like this giant bruise, right? So really common. We are not alone if we're feeling that stress and tension, but there is stuff we can do about it. And the first step is awareness. So if you can get even like a check-in, right? Every hour that you're working, have your phone ding at you to check in with your posture. And it's just spending like maybe 5 breaths to like drop the shoulders away from the ears. Try to grow your collarbones left to right? If our collarbones are squeezed together, do the opposite. Think of growing them left to right. Relaxing the shoulder blades down and back. You don't want your shoulder blades winging out behind you. You want them to drop down and back. That's already going to create some space, right? Some space in that shoulder joint. Why do we want space? If we're all squeezed up, the blood cannot flow. The shoulder joint fluid cannot move around. Our joint fluid is fluid. It needs to move around to bring nutrition to the area. If it's stuck and stagnant, it gets gunked up, it causes inflammation, that takes up space, and that creates tension, pain, and immobility. So all these things, just from coming from a bit of awareness in our posture, is huge, okay? Then the next step is movement. And I know Lindsay, who can't watch live, but she posted a question. She's been doing rolls, shoulder rolls front and back. She does Epsom salt baths and magic bean bags for her tension in her neck and shoulders. And those are all a great start. But if you imagine shoulder rolls, Lindsay, it's only doing the surface muscles, right? You're not actually moving your rotator cuffs if you're not moving your arm. Okay, so shoulder rolls are a great start. You could maybe warm up this way, but then you want to actually start to move your arms. Now, if that's like crazy and really painful, do 50%, right? Maybe you can do here. I know this seems so silly, but if you can do this with a good posture, all the rotator cuffs, all the muscles around the joint. We didn't even go through all the anatomy. There is like probably 7 layers, front, top, side of this joint. This joint is so complicated, but that's why it's so magical, because it can really move quite a bit. And then even if you can't do 50%, you do 30%. Guys, it's not all or nothing. Whatever you can do, I promise you, it's like a little bit in the bank every day, right? If you consistently do it, maybe the next week, 1 month from now, you're going to get to the next percent and you'll be able to move more and more and more. but it takes baby steps consistently, frequently to really start to heal our bodies. And I invite you to try to be curious with your body rather than scared, right? Honestly, unless you have a fracture, a broken bone, you're not going to make it worse. I mean, if you go and like do something silly, like you have shoulder pain and you try to do 100 push-ups, that's probably not going to be smart. But rolling a bit, getting curious, like, can I like extend my arms? Oh, that's a bit far. Nope, not that far. Can I go this far? Okay. Like not comfortable, but it's tolerable, right? I always tell my clients that 3 out of 10 pain. You push it past 3, you're probably going to pay for it. But if it's like just on that edge of 3 to 4, better to move than not. Okay. And if it's so sore, help it. Like, let's say I have a true right shoulder impingement, like Abby's saying. I don't want frozen shoulder, right? Frozen shoulder is when like your joint is so stuck, it can't even move in any direction. Like we want to prevent that. So if it's so painful, even to do like little circles or something, we just take the other arm. Maybe you have the other arm is feeling good. You hold it and you encourage it through passive movement. So you're still getting that mobility, but you're not demanding the shoulder to move on its own, right? Like it's called passive range of motion. And you can use your other hand. Maybe you can be creative. Like maybe you slide it on like you slide your body away and bring it in, right? Like this kind of thing. You can use the wall. You can use a stick. Here's my little roller stick, right? Maybe I use my stick to help press it up. There are so many ways to move your shoulder without, like, don't think of no pain, no gain, but you do need a little bit of discomfort to get progress, right? Like if we just, oh my God, my shoulder hurts and I like protect it, you're not going to progress. Actually, you might make it worse. So just a little bit, even if it can't go all the way. Okay, like today, that's all I can do. I'm going to repeat it a few times. I'm going to pay attention to posture though, because there's no point in, being slouched and doing that, because I'm going to butt up against that rotator cuff. I'm going to assume the best posture I can get, right? And do a little bit of mobility that way. And repeat it tomorrow, repeat it the next day. It will come. Our bodies are amazing. We just have to put our minds to it and believe that we can heal. Have to believe that you can heal through movement. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I see a lot of different kinds of clients, and no matter what, all the tricks, I have gadgets, I have dry needling, I have a massage gun, I use my hands, I do active release therapy. At the end of the day, it's the mindful movement that truly gets people to completely heal. That's it. That's what is sustainable. And again, throughout the pandemic, when I had to shut down in person, right? Lockdown, I couldn't see people. I guided them through movement online and they healed. Actually, they probably healed faster because they were forced to do it themselves. And that's very empowering. So I hope that gives you guys hope. Another question I got from Susan was, what's the best position to sleep in for my neck and shoulder aches? That's hard because I don't know what bothers you, Susan, and I don't know if it's your left or right side, but in general, I would say you really need to check your pillow, and the back is probably the best because you can sleep in an anatomical position, meaning you're in resting position, right? Like you're lying on the bed with your palms facing the sky, a thin pillow behind your head, and you're hopefully lying on a good mattress that keeps your back in neutral, and it looks like you're standing, but you're lying down and you're sleeping, right? Because if you have shoulder pain on your right side, probably if you lie on it and compress it, it's not going to feel good right now. You could, if you're a side sleeper and you really can't sleep on your back, you could sleep on the non-sore side. So Susan, let's say it's your right shoulder, you would lie on your left, but you got to make sure your pillow is big enough to cover the space between your ear and your shoulder, right? Because if you're lying down, you don't want to be kinked like that. So the pillow, so back sleepers versus side sleepers, the pillow does change, right? The side sleeping pillow needs to be a bit bigger. And for that sore arm that is on top now, you can hug a body pillow or just hug another pillow. Because sometimes I find, even with myself when I had shoulder injury, like having it hang and then it doesn't feel good just to have it by my side. Having something to hug to support it felt good. Hi, Margaret. Thanks for saying hi, guys. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm so happy to see that the live is working and tech is on my side today. All right, so we have about 15 minutes left, 10 to 15 minutes. So what I want to do is guide you guys through a gentle practice for our shoulders. And feel free to follow along. If anything doesn't feel good, try to do what I just talked about, like scale it back. Right, it's not all or nothing. If you can't do the movement all the way, just try 10%. And then if 10% feels good, maybe you bump it to, 20 or 25%, right? So just starting to get to know your body and starting to move with ease. Okay, so I have a yoga mat. You don't need a yoga mat. You just need your body and your awareness. So here we go. I always like to start a mindful movement practice with breath. And sometimes shutting down our eyes just helps to let us like really tune into our bodies, create that mind-body connection. So if you're comfortable with hand on heart, hand on belly, go ahead and do that. Close your eyes. Maybe you can feel your beating heart. And then bring awareness right now to your shoulders and your neck. And see if you can soften it just 5 to 10%. Okay, if you can feel any tension or sort of residual scrunching, can you just gently, through gentle breathing, soften it a little bit? Good job. Let's do one more breath here. Good. We'll flutter open the eyes, hands by your sides, and we'll just start with those nice shoulder rolls, just like Lindsay had asked about. We're just warming up the outer muscles, right? So remember, we have layers of muscles. We're just warming up the outer ones. Haven't even started with any, movement in the arms. Not even touching the rotator cuffs just yet. We're just sort of moving. And then see if you can pull one shoulder back, one shoulder forward. And then bring the other shoulder from one shoulder back. Take a bit of coordination. And then start to do it at the same time. Kind of like tapping your belly and rubbing your head, or rubbing your tummy and tapping your head. Just see if you can do that. Good. And then we'll just end with rolling them back. And then pull your hands open. So whenever we open our palms, it opens our shoulders. Can you feel that? So when you pull your palm backwards, it feels like you're closing, like it feels like you're crunching in. But then when you open your palms forward, you're inviting in like a longer left to right space. You're opening your heart, you're opening your chest. So try to see if you can feel that difference and stay open. And then we're just going to inhale and lift the arms up. Connect them at the top if possible. Exhale, bring your arms down. Now, if that was too much, maybe you have your arms a little bit forward. Okay, that's a bit easier if you're having impingement or any shoulder instability or pain, right? So most of the time anyway, we need to see our hands. We are seeing what we're doing. So this is more functional anyway. But if you have the range, you can pull it behind or right by your side. Good, let's do one more here. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. rolling those shoulders again. We're going to take a breath, and then let's stand and see if we can bring your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Now, this is really tough for some people. If it is, you can hold on to a towel or a stick together, right? Like your arms don't have to touch. But if you can touch, go ahead. And you're going to try to pull your arms straight behind you, but you have to make sure you're not rounded, right? You're still opening through the chest, opening through the heart. I'm trying to get my palms to kiss and my elbows are straight. And breathing. Now, if you're not holding your hand, you're just holding the towel, that's great. But you still need open through the chest. Take a breath in and hold it. Good, take another breath. I'm going to bring my back to you. I'm going to go ahead and bring my hands to the right waist. And then gently, I'm going to bring my right ear to my right shoulder. I'm getting a nice big neck stretch here. This is an area we carry a lot of tension. So if you're there, you can also be there with a stick, right? Like you can do this. And again, if that's too much, maybe your hand is lower on your tailbone or your butt cheek. This is a nice stretch too. We're just trying to open our left upper trap, okay? And close your eyes. Bring awareness here. Can you bring some softness to this area? If the ear down feels crazy, just bring your head halfway. You don't have to bring your ear all the way down. Halfway. Good. Come back through center, shake it out. And we'll do the other side. So you're going to inhale, bring your arms behind you. Try to interlace those fingers. And this time I'm going to hook my arm to the other side. You can use that towel or stick again. And it might look different this side, right? It depends which hand is dominant too. The dominant side is probably tighter because you use it more. Breathing in. And breathing in. Let's do one more breath on this side. Good. Relax through center. Roll your shoulder blades down the back. And then let's try that. Inhale, lift your arms up again. And exhale, bring them back down. Good. Again, if that's feeling like too much, soften. Soften your elbows. Soften your range. Maybe you're not super out to the side. Maybe you're just a little bit in front of you. If that is really not possible, you can lift them up this way. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just change the direction. We are 3D, right? So any movement you can make is going to be helpful for other parts of you. So don't be afraid to try. Good. Let's do one more together. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Rolling the shoulders down and back. We're going to do one more that I really love, which is a W. Okay. This one is really great for your posture. And you can do it in any position. I'll show you guys in seated. You could be standing. You could even do it lying down on your belly or your back. Okay, so lots of positions, but the main goal is to help with our posture. So right now, I want you to picture the corners of your shoulder blades. Well, first, make sure you're in neutral spine. Make sure your posture is sort of in that loose S shape if someone was looking at you from the side. Okay, that's important. You don't want to ever do exercises slouched. Okay, then from your neutral spine, your shoulder blades are here and here, yeah? So what you're going to do is imagine pulling the corners of your shoulder blades down and back. It's not a very big movement, and you probably couldn't really see what I was doing. So let me remove this outer shirt. Does anybody have any questions? Just feel free to type in the chat. If you're watching the replay, you can also ask me questions. I'll try to answer them after. Maybe you can see my shoulder blades better here. So if I'm sitting like this, I'm going to just gently pull my shoulder blades down and back. Did you see that? You try it. Did you see it? You try it. Okay. So I'm going to show you from front. It's not going to look like much. I'm sitting nice and tall, and then I'm just going to pull my shoulder blades down and back. Okay, why am I doing this? Your trapezius muscle is a triangle. Okay, so if you were looking at me from behind, my traps are from here, like from my neck to here, and then connect that triangle. Okay? When your upper traps beat out the lower traps, you end up like this and then like this, like because the upper traps where we normally get stress and tension and golf balls, it pulls us like that. Okay. I'm getting you to do the W to activate the lower traps and some other muscles, but let's just focus on traps so that you're gonna actually pull here. I'll show you from profile down and back. So in clinic, when I see people in person and I poke them here, it's like hard as a rock. And then I just get them to do W, which is like pull the lower corners of the shoulder blades down and back. Or you can pretend you're tucking your shoulder blade into the opposite pocket if you're wearing jeans. So I'm tucking this shoulder blade into this pocket. And then I touch their shoulder. It's so soft because we're like balancing out the trapezius muscle. So we talked about rotator cuffs. Now I'm talking about trapezius muscle. It is that big triangle, left and right sides, from here to here to here, right? So if that muscle's imbalanced because of posture, stress, or typing at the computer in a bad way, right, at work, then that top trap is going to always be tight, and the lower traps are going to be weak and kind of like winging the shoulder blade up. So we're going to pull it down and back. And it's so small, but it's so significant. It's such a small movement, but just by doing that, bringing awareness to that muscle, you actually relieve tension in this muscle, the top part of the traps, and then you're activating the bottom, which is really good for strengthening it and helping it counter that imbalance. If you can do that and you're feeling pretty good and your shoulder's not bothering you, you can try this one. So now we're going to W with our arms. So it's the same feeling, same idea. I'm pulling my shoulder blades down and back into the opposite pockets, but now I have my arms working. So inhale, exhale, pull it down and back. And try to hold for a breath or two, right? This is also a great one to do at the wall, because then you can really feel like, because parts of you will touch the wall, right? So it can give you the input if your posture is good. Let's do one more together. It doesn't look like we're doing much, but if you're doing it with mindful intention, you should feel your shoulders. Like I feel like I just worked my lower traps, and I can feel the lower parts of my shoulder blade muscle, like here. It just got worked. Like I know I just worked it. I can feel it. It wasn't like I'm just like swinging my arms in a W. Like this is not going to do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like if I just do this, I'm probably going to hurt something else. But if I put my mind to it, my intention is to activate my lower traps because I don't want tension in my upper traps to keep taking over. This is where we carry all the tension and pain, right? Posture. I'm intentionally, thank you, Margaret. She just said this is a good one. That's awesome. I'm so happy that you find this helpful. Because I think that sometimes something simple can be like, oh, how is that going to help me? But it is going to, because we're putting our mind to it. Like mindful movement doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be mindful. would it be helpful to hold a broom handle while doing the W move? You mean like this? Like this? If your broom handle is wide enough, like this is too short for me, right? But yes, if you had a broom handle, you could definitely, like, I guess if it was wider, totally. And you might even, if you have good range of motion, you might even pull it behind your head. Love this. Thank you, Carolyn. So I just want you guys to take away from today's workshop that, yeah, we talked about shoulder a lot, and it's like really important not to carry or to be aware to help us stop carrying stress and tension there. So through posture, but also like it doesn't have to be crazy. We just need like really purposeful, mindful movement targeted at the right muscles to really help us alleviate those aches and tensions and start to restore balance in our shoulders. You're welcome, Michelle. So, I have to let you guys go. That went by way faster than I thought it would. Clearly, we can talk about shoulders all day. But if you found this workshop helpful, I would love to know. And let me know if there's more questions, because maybe we do another, like shoulders part 2. And again, I'm here for you. I am really passionate about helping women live the best second half of their lives. I think that, preventative health is the key. Mindful movement is the key to true healing. If you're curious about the Move with Ease method, which is the 12-week program that I run, I invite you to reach out to me. We can chat anytime. And yeah, we'll just hopefully connect soon again. So have a wonderful rest of your day. And oh, Carolyn just wrote, very helpful. 12:15 start was easier. Okay, that's good feedback. All right, 12:15 is better than 12. Need that buffer of 15 minutes. Awesome. And again, I'm Tatiana, and like just drop me a line anytime. This is why I have this group. Like it's not to be like, what was it? Where was I going with that thought? Oh, my resources, they're here for you guys. So like, give me feedback, then I can like, do the next live around something that you need or you want. Don't hesitate either to go to the guides section. It's a tab at the top. There's lots of workshops from before that I've done. They're there for a reason. They're there for you guys to use. So please go ahead and use it. If you have questions, tag me in a question, tag me in a comment. Happy to serve you guys and help. Okay. So Abby says, please do another shoulder part 2. Okay, Abby, that's awesome. But tell me why? What do you need in the part 2? That would be great feedback for me. Okay. All right. I'm going to sign off now. The chat will still be there. So go ahead and type anything that you have questions about. If you're watching the replay, same thing. And hope to see you guys next time. Bye for now.